Hello, Packers fans. It's time for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast. Want to thank everyone for their support. We're over 17,000 subscribers. Really appreciate everybody who hits that sub button. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that sub button. If you like this content, please hit the like button. Both of those things help this channel grow. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Packer free agents and likely cut replacements to see if we're better off re-signing or replacing the player. So that's going to be our main focus for today. I'm actually going to go ahead and share my work here. So let's go ahead and bring up our screen. So I'm using PFF data here. So basically cut and pasted PFF information so we could compare the players that are leaving and their possible replacements. So let's take a look at it. So we're going to start out with Elgton Jenkins. He's a likely cut candidate. Looking at his grades for last year, we had a 62 for overall. Run blocking was 60. Pass blocking was 72.5. As we know, Elgton Jenkins had a significant leg injury. Reports are that he'll probably be ready for the start of the season. Now, if the Packers cut Elgton Jenkins, they would save $18.5 million. And if you look at his overall grade, it was not a good rate at all for the Packers. He was clearly in a situation where he did not have any success at center. If you look at his rating, he was the 25th out of 40 rated centers. So slightly above starting level. Not what the Packers expected when they moved Elgton Jenkins to center. So let's look at some possible replacements here. Number one possible replacement would, of course, be Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan is also a free agent, but I think it's highly likely that the Packers will try to re-sign him because I think he would be a cost-effective addition. If you look at his overall grade, he was just under 60. Elgton Jenkins was 62. So his run blocking was better than Elgton Jenkins, but his pass blocking really struggled. Now, you have to keep in mind that Sean Ryan did move to the center position in the middle of the season. It was a substantial adjustment for him, and I think he played much better at the end of the season than he did at the start of the season. Now, I think Sean Ryan can probably be re-signed for a 3-year, $15 million cost as a starting center. So for the cost of Elgton Jenkins for 1 year, you can get Sean Ryan for 3 years. And I think that will be a significant investment for the Packers. And I think it would be a smart investment. Let's take a look at some other options. Now, the center free agent market is not great. And that's why I think Sean Ryan would be a great player to target in free agency as a re-signing. So let's take a look at some other options at the center position. We have Connor McGovern of the Buffalo Bills. He is a free agent, but we don't know if the Bills are going to re-sign him. I would expect that the Bills will re-sign McGovern because he's been a very solid center. You look at his offensive grade, 70.9, 9th out of 37 for centers overall. Very good in pass blocking and run blocking. So he is a very solid center, and I think that's probably why the Bills will just re-sign him and not put him in the market. I expect he'll get a 3-year, $30 million contract. So while he would be better than Sean Ryan and Elgton Jenkins, are the Packers willing to put $30 million into the position versus just re-signing Sean Ryan, which is why I think Sean Ryan will be re-signed. Another center on the market, very comparable to Sean Ryan, I think overall, would be Ethan Pokey. P-O-C-I-C. Pokey. I think that's how we would pronounce that. In any event, he's got a overall grade of 63.8. I think he's going to get 3 years, 18 million, even if he hits free agency. So again, I think Sean Rhyan would be a better investment there. Next, we have Rashawn Gary, likely cut candidate for your Green Bay Packers. If they cut Rashawn Gary, he's going to, I think I said Sean Rhyan, Rashawn Gary. If we cut Rashawn Gary, we're going to save $11 million. And if you look at his overall grade this year, 68.2, pass rush grade of 60.7. His run defense grade was actually the strength for Rashawn Gary, but I don't think that's worth him staying on the roster. So I do expect Rashawn Gary will probably be cut, and let's take a look at his possible replacements. Right, already on the roster is Lucas Van Ness. As you can see, his defensive overall grade was higher than Rashawn Gary. Now, that was limited snaps because Lucas Van Ness was injured in the middle of the season, and he was a part-time starter. But once he got in there at the end of the season, I think Lucas Van Ness was playing at a higher level than Rashawn Gary. He's currently on the roster for $55.5 million, so you're going to save a significant amount of money and get, in my opinion, an ascending player. Now, Lucas Van Ness is up for an option for the 2027 season, which would get him $15 million for the 2027 season, but his roster cost would only be 5.5 for 2026 unless they did some sort of a longer restructure. So look for Lucas Van Ness to be the most likely replacement for Rashawn Gary on the roster. He's already on the roster. He knows the system. He's an ascending player, and you can get him for a much cheaper cost. So look for Lucas Van Ness to most likely be the starter. Look at some other free agents that could possibly replace Rashawn Gary. We've got Jadeveon Clowney. He would be an interesting option, and he still might be an option in play, okay? So you could keep Lucas Van Ness and add Jadeveon Clowney and probably still save a little money and have two for the price of one. Jadeveon Clowney is a mercenary. He goes from team to team every year, but he did have a 79.2 overall grade, 80.6 pass rushing grade. He was the third best win rate for pass rushers in the league. Run defense is solid at 70.6. So I actually wouldn't hate them, number one, making Lucas Van Ness the starter. You can sign Jadeveon Clowney, and he could be your spot starter while you wait for Micah Parsons to get back to 100%. And then he could be your third defensive end off the bench, and you would actually save money over Rashawn Gary. Now let's look at Quay Walker. He is a free agent right now. I think he would cost to re-sign about 3 years, $24 million, so $8 million a year. So if the Packers could get Quay Walker for $8 million a year, I think that would be a smart re-sign. I don't think PFF grades really reflect what Walker does on the field. He is very solid in pass rush, but he struggles in both run defense and coverage, according to PFF. I think this rating is a little harsh. I think if you can get Walker for $8 million a year, I would recommend resigning him, because let's look at some other options in free agency. We have Leo Chanel of the Kansas City Chiefs, overall grade 75.1, run defense 76.2, pass rush. He really hasn't hit his full potential as a pass rusher, but especially if the Packers switch to a 3-4 and he's playing inside linebacker, Chanel doesn't really have to worry about being a pass rusher. Overall coverage grade, which is a real strength for Chanel at 72.6, which is something, again, you would want your linebackers able to do if you switch to a 3-4 or stay in a 4-3. So Chanel would probably be a 2-year, $12 million contract, which I really like. He's a great candidate if you don't resign the existing linebacker on the roster. Next up is Bobby Wagner. He is 79.3 raid, run defense 90, pass rush grade 92.4, coverage grade is 52.3. The problem here is Bobby Wagner is 35 years old. So if you're going to sign Bobby Wagner, I would recommend a 1-year, $9 million deal, and I think he would be a solid option to replace Walker in the inside linebacker role. Now let's look at Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker is leaving. He's a free agent. He will not be re-signed. He's probably going to get something in the range of a 4-year, $65 million contract, because there just aren't a lot of free agent tackles out there. And I think he does good enough that he's going to be well outside of the Packers' range. So what are we going to do to replace Rasheed Walker? Well, we already have his replacement on the roster in Jordan Morgan. So once again, Rasheed Walker's overall grade is 63. Jordan Morgan's grade is 62. And we also have to keep in mind that Jordan Morgan was playing guard for a while. He's going to be switching to tackle in 2026. And he ended up being switched to tackle at the end of the season and getting some snaps in. But I think Jordan Morgan is a clear replacement for Rasheed Walker. So Jordan Morgan is currently on the roster. He's going to get $6.3 million, and he only has the opportunity to improve, and I think you're going to see Jordan Morgan fill in just fine. If we were looking at free agent tackles on the market, there really aren't a lot, which is why Rasheed Walker is going to get so much money as a free agent. So I think Jordan Morgan is a clear choice at tackle. They're probably going to look at some free agents for depth, or maybe look for that in the draft. But Jordan Morgan is your replacement, and I think that's an equal player based on how they're playing right now. But Jordan Morgan has the upside to possibly become a very good tackle once he's playing that position completely. Next up, let's look at the quarterback position. Malik Willis, we don't have to talk about this. One thing I would say, PFF, he's been on the Packers roster for 2 years. Why is there still a Tennessee Titans picture? Come on, PFF. Step up, update your pictures more frequently. I could understand if the Packers only had Malik Willis for a year, but they've had Malik Willis for 2 years. There's no reason that he still should have this ugly Tennessee Titans picture. Let's talk about Malik Willis. There's no chance he's going to be re-signed by the Packers. Look at these grades. 92.3 overall. He is a potential starter for another team. He's probably going to get something at least in the range of 2 years, $40 million would be my expectations for Malik Willis as a likely starter. So he is out the door. Now, what can we do to replace Malik Willis? Marcus Mariota is my number 1 pick to replace Malik Willis. He's got a 71.4 grade. I think he's probably going to get a $7 million per year deal, maybe for 2 years. He's played with Matt LaFleur before, so he can pick up the system quickly. He's a solid, established quarterback that still has some ability to run. He's not going to be a one-for-one replacement for Malik Willis, but I think Marcus Mariota can get us through a couple games per year and hopefully get a win or two. And I think Marcus Mariota is the best pick for a replacement as a free agent for Malik Willis. We also have Tyler Huntley available. We saw him all too well against Green Bay Week 17, where he was very solid, and he has that ability to be both a runner and a passer like Malik Willis, which I think is the ideal backup for the Packers. So Tyler Huntley would also be a good option as a backup quarterback. Those are my suggestions. There aren't a lot in free agency that I think would be within the price range for the Packers. Again, I think Huntley would probably get $7 million per year, maybe for 2 years. I think he would be a viable option. So just wanted to do a quick video, go over some players overall that are going to be leaving the Packers and possible replacements. Overall, I'm very confident that the Packers can both create salary cap space and use some of these replacement players, either that are already on the roster or in free agency, and actually improve the roster over the departing free agents or cut casualties. Because I don't think Rashawn Gary is going to be back. I don't think Elton Jenkins is going to be back. And I think we can find fine replacements either on the roster or in free agency. In the case of Sean Ryan, it would be a free agent who knows the Packer system very well, and I think that would be an ideal selection. We'll be back with another video next week. Hopefully we'll have some news and notes. It is a quiet period, so I'm going to continue looking at how the Packers roster can be evolved via free agency or through existing players on the roster while we wait for free agency, which is going to be in about 2 weeks. We're also going to have the combine in a week, so hopefully we'll have some interesting players to look at coming out of the combine, because the Packers need to find corners and nose tackles either via free agency or the draft. We'll see you then. As always, go Pack Go.